So what's going on, guys? I am Black Ops Amazing. Welcome back to another zombies video on the channel, back with another Q&A, taking your questions from the comment section below to do with the zombie storyline, Easter eggs and answer them. As always, if you enjoyed today's video, a like rating would be appreciated. If you want to, if not, it's totally fine. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest videos, but let's get into it. Here we go. So the first question of the day from Pulp Plays 04 says, "Hey BOA, what happened to the rest of the Great War Primis characters? I mean, we see Great War Richtofen show up in Blood of the Dead, but where are the others?" So it is a good question and kind of links into ones I have answered previously. Basically, you're asking me what happens after the Revelations ending. When the Great War finishes, where do the Primis characters go to? We don't know. I've tried to answer this question 100 times before. Of course, since we haven't been told, it'd just be me coming up with theories. We do know we are going back to the Great War. However, this time, instead of defeating the Apothecans, we are going to defeat Dr. Monty. So we won't necessarily get to see what happened to the Primis characters originally. Whether we ever will, I don't really know. But what you're asking on this question is, well, we see in Blood of the Dead, we have the post-Revelations Richtofen, the one that came from the Great War, but where are Nikolai, Takeo and Dempsey? Where are the post-Revelations versions of them? Because it seems like Richtofen has left them, as we see he was in Blood of the Dead on his own. Well, where were the other versions of Takeo, Dempsey and Nikolai? We don't exactly know how post-Rev Richtofen got to Alcatraz either. Primis Richtofen travelled back in time to the Great War, told him about the cycle and how he is needed to fix it, and so they both then travelled back to present day, where post-Revelations Richtofen went into the cryogenic chambers until he was needed. Or maybe it's the other way around and it was post-Rev Richtofen who came forward in time to tell Primis Richtofen that he can help. We don't really know, and again, if he is here, then where are Takeo, Nikolai and Dempsey? Did Richtofen just abandon them because the Great War was finished? The characters didn't need to be a group anymore, and so they went off on their own separate ways? Or possibly Richtofen told the crew that he's going away for a little bit. He told them what to do whilst he's gone and that he would return. And it's very possible he could have gone back, because we see in Classified, post-Revelations Richtofen is no longer there. We are back with Primis Richtofen once again. So maybe after Blood of the Dead, post-Rev Richtofen travelled back to his timeline. We don't know. The second question of the day from It's Your Boy Spider-Man says, "Hey BOA, what is the full storyline of zombies?" Which I've kind of done like a 5-minute version of it on my channel before, so you can check that out if you want to. That was up until like BO3. And then you also say, what happens now that we've broken the cycle? When our characters die, will they still come back? And that is a very good question, because we know when our characters do die, which they have many times in the zombie storyline. I've said this plenty of times before. We've seen it in loads of different trailers, from Zetsubo to Gorod, more recently in Blood of the Dead. Our characters die because our zombie storyline is one giant cycle, and each map is in a cycle of its own. We see, for example, in Zetsubo no Shima, Takeo ended up killing Richtofen, Nikolai and Dempsey. We don't know the reason for this, but he did. And of course, when it comes to us playing Zetsubo no Shima, our characters are alive again. They make it through the Easter egg and they move on to their next map, Gorod Kurovi. Talking about that map, again, in one of the trailers, we see Ultimus Nikolai ends up killing the Primis crew. I believe he throws Richtofen off a rooftop. He kind of like stamps on Dempsey's head or crushes him, something like that. He ends up shooting Nikolai. So all of the characters we can see die in Gorod Kurovi, but because they are in this continuous cycle, they are brought back to life until they complete the quest that they were there to do. So our zombies characters, whether it's Primis, the Transit crew, Ultimus, the Call of the Dead crew, all of these characters would have died previously attempting to complete the main quest, but because of that, because of Monty wanting to keep the cycle going, if any of these characters ended up being killed, that would mean a part of Monty's cycle would break down, causing something to go wrong, and obviously the same events that are supposed to happen again and again and again won't, and so Monty, this godly figure that he is, keeps our characters alive. They've all died plenty of times before, but in order to keep the cycle continuing, it is reset back to the point when they were last alive, and it keeps going until the cycle is completed, and that's when they get sent back to the very beginning. But your question is, and it's a very good one, well, surely now that the characters have figured out that they are in a cycle, the Primis crew learned in Blood of the Dead from reading the Canorium that actually Dr. Monty is the bad guy. He's been keeping them stuck in this loop, going through these same events hundreds of thousands of times before, And now, as we saw in Blood of the Dead, they realised that by reading the Canorium, and so Richtofen sacrificed himself in order to break the cycle. Which should mean then, now that there's no loop, if the characters do die from here on, they won't return. It seems like it was Dr. Monty who was keeping them alive. He brought them back if they did die. Surely if Richtofen, Takeo, Nikolai, Dempsey, or any other character that is involved in our storyline ends up dying from here on in DLC 3 or 4, Dr. Monty isn't going to bring them back. Why would he if they're trying to kill him? That'd just be putting himself in danger. The cycle is broken now, the loop is gone, so if our characters, for whatever reason, whether they slip up, they fail, make a mistake, if they die, well, that should mean that there's no coming back for them, which means that they only have one chance. They can't make a mistake. And that also brings up the question, as we know, it was Dr. Monty who also gave us the perks, like Juggernog. I mean, we can't really say that since it's not in BO4 anymore, but he gave us Quick Revive. Yeah, that's kind of not there as well. Oh, what have they done to the perks? But it was Dr. Monty who was giving us the perk machines in Zombies. He also gave us the mystery box, the chalk drawings of weapons on the wall. Again, if he knows that we're coming to kill him now, surely he's not going to give the Primis characters any of them, which means how are we going to get weapons in DLC 3 and 4? It wouldn't make sense for Monty to provide them, and that also goes for the Pack-a-Punch machine as well. I'm thinking maybe, and I do want to save this for another video, but I'm thinking possibly the Shadow Man could do that job. We know at this moment in time he's inside of the summoning key. We don't know his full powers. Maybe he can do what Dr. Monty did and transport the perk machines, the Pack-a-Punch, and give us weapons on the wall to help defeat Dr. Monty. You might be asking, why would the Shadow Man want to help us? Well, we know he hates Dr. Monty, so maybe there could be something in it for him. I'm going to save that topic for a different video, but it is definitely interesting. Does this mean from now on, our characters only get one chance? If they die, there's no returning. And also, if you think about it, that could explain the reason for our new perk system in Black Ops 4. I know everyone hates it. Personally, I don't like it. I do miss Juggernog. But it could make sense story-wise because the old perk machines were given to us by Dr. Monty. Since it's pretty clear that he's not going to be helping us now that we're coming to kill him, these new perk machines that we see in Blood of the Dead and Classified, well, we don't have an explanation as for where they come from. In BO4, we were just suddenly randomly introduced to these new perk machines that we'd never seen before. And I suppose on top of that, you could also ask, well, who's giving these to us? It can't be Dr. Monty. If he's this all-powerful, big seeing god, he's been watching our characters for a very long time. Surely he knows that we're coming to kill him, so it can't have been him providing us with the weapons, mystery box and perks in Blood of the Dead or Classified. It must have been someone else. Maybe the Shadow Man inside of the key, maybe someone else, maybe it was Monty. We'll just have to wait and see, but it is definitely interesting. I'm super excited for the next 2 DLC maps, although I'm sad that it's coming to an end. I think it's going to be really interesting, and like you said, are our characters only going to get one chance? The next question from Alex says, who exactly was Broken Arrow? So Broken Arrow was a program created by the US government with the intention of preventing an undead outbreak after the incident at the Pentagon. After the zombie outbreak happened there, the US decided to set this up in order to make sure it doesn't happen again. It first began in 1963 and was soon merged with the Groom Lake program. However, we know that wasn't Broken Arrow's only facility. They had many around the country, including one, which we know very well, is in Transit Green Run. The 2 different laboratories that we see there, the one under the bank and also the one in the power station where the Avogadro is. Both of them were facilities of Broken Arrows. Another one was near to Nuketown. But anyway, once the Broken Arrow program was set up, they began to experiment with Element 115. We know they recovered a fragment of Element 115 from the Division 9 research group, and that was also when a character we know very well, being Russman, began to work for them. We know after working for them for a very long time, he began to lose his memory. This was because he'd been exposed to Element 115 for such a long time, hence why we see in maps like Transit, Dire Eyes, Buried, Russman is clearly suffering from memory loss. He can't remember his name. But yeah, that was basically what Broken Arrow was. It was a group created by the US to prevent a zombie outbreak, and also to experiment with 115, it seems. We know one of their failed experiments was the Avogadro. They created him, he was an accident, he wasn't supposed to be made. They then also created the Denizens and the Bios, so there we go, that was Broken Arrow, a program set up by the US to prevent a zombie outbreak. As we know, eventually the group was disbanded because a zombie outbreak was caused by them, so it's a, you know, it's, yeah, bad luck with that. But anyway, guys, there we go. That is it for today's video. As always, hopefully you have enjoyed. If you have, you know what to do. Drop a like, rate it if you want to. If not, it's totally fine. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest videos. Thank you for watching. Leave your questions down below, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.